vain, greedy, cruel boy.
And you are an old man and a fool.
Welcome to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy. Here's every Easter egg, reference, and thing that you might have missed in Thor. The film begins all the way back in 965 AD in Tonsberg, Norway, the same place that the Red Skull finds the Tesseract in 1942, and where, in 2023, Thor will pound brews and noobs in Fortnite.
Oh, that's right. Yes, go cry to your father, you little weasel.
In Thor's introductory scene, he's wearing his most comic-accurate costume that we see in the movies, complete with a winged helmet, red cape, and dyed blonde eyebrows, a decision that Marvel president Kevin Feige later said he regretted. But did you know that Tom Hiddleston originally auditioned for Thor, and you can actually see that footage online?
For Outland?
Now, seeing this version of Thor on screen was a huge deal for fans of the character, because previously we only got this and this.
Oh, Thor, mighty god of thunder.
Who is this kid?
And that actor is Vincent D'Onofrio, who would later play the Kingpin in the MCU. And you might be wondering why there are so many damn Dutch angles in this movie. Director Kenneth Branagh said he was inspired by the diagonal panels from the comics. Now this is interesting, because it shows how experienced filmmakers were initially struggling with how to tell a comic book story on screen. For instance, 8 years earlier, Ang Lee, who is a genius, experimented with using panels in the Hulk, and it really didn't work. Do you think the panels in the Hulk worked? Let me know down in the comments. All hail.
All hail!
The stripping of Thor's armor was inspired by one of Kenneth Branagh's favorite films, The Life of Emile Zola.
I now take from you your power.
Long live France! I'm innocent.
After Thor gets banished from Asgard and arrives on Earth, Natalie Portman's character gives him a shirt worn by one of her exes, Donald Blake. This was Thor's original secret identity in the comics. Now, the name will later appear on his fake ID, featuring this photo that Darcy took in the diner. Also, because this is a New York State ID, it features the state's motto, Excelsior, which was also how Stan Lee would sign off in his Stan Soapbox editorials. Yeah, Doug, I'm getting to that. Get out of my butt. This is Doug, our assistant manager. Oh no, lick the TV. Fine, I'll do all the real work while you lick the TV. This colleague that Selig mentions,
I knew the scientist, the pioneer in gamma radiation. Shield showed up and, he wasn't heard from again.
could be gamma research scientist Bruce Banner. But Banner doesn't really encounter S.H.I.E.L.D. until the Avengers, which is set after this movie. So what if this scientist is actually Dr. Samuel Stearns, the cellular biologist played by Tim Blake Nelson in The Incredible Hulk? In his last scene, Stearns has begun his mutation into the comic book villain The Leader, so maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. apprehended him and he helped coordinate Hydra's plans, like Project Insight. After all, we did learn in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that the spy organization had Emil Blonsky on ice.
I'll reassign you to Barrow, Alaska, and you'll spend the rest of your years pulling the night shift guarding Blonsky's cryocell.
Now, Stan Lee makes his cameo as the guy who rips out the bed of his truck trying to move Mjolnir. But did you know that you can actually see this truck later outside the diner? This is Thor writer and Babylon 5 creator J. Michael Straczynski. Walt Simonson, another legendary Thor writer, cameos in the closing feast. Yo, Taika Waititi, where my Jason Aaron cameo at? Reddit user Juan Shang discovered this neat little Easter egg. These runes are an actual ancient alphabet called Elder Furthark, and they translate to, "He who wields this hammer commands the lightning and the storm." So, if you were wondering how Captain America could use the hammer to summon lightning even though he's not the god of thunder, this is why. When Selvig studies up on Norse mythology, he reads a page that says Thursday was originally called Thor's Day, because all of our days of the week are rooted in Norse mythology. Wednesday is Odin's Day, Friday is Frigga, etc., etc. In the illustration, though, Odin is holding a cube, which could be the Tesseract. After all, he did hide the Tesseract on Earth hundreds of years earlier, and this event could have become the Norse myth to these people on Earth. Odin arrives to save Thor from the Frost Giants on a horse with 8 legs. This is actually called a Sleipnir from Norse mythology. In the flashback, Odin loses an eye when fighting Laufey, but in Norse mythology, he exchanged the eye for wisdom, much like Thor becomes wise after losing the same eye to Hela.
Now you remind me of Dad.
Odin's vault is filled with Easter eggs. There's the eternal flame used to summon Surtur in Ragnarok, the mind control weapon, the Warlock's Eye, and this is the Tablet of Time and Life. Now, this artifact could explain why Asgardians live such long lives and are so tough. The writing on it is actually a chemical compound called the Lifeline formula that allows its users to achieve the full evolutionary potential of their race. The Kingpin tried to steal it way back in Amazing Spider-Man 65. And this is the most impressive artifact in the throne room. That's your mom. Also in the vault is a right-handed Infinity Gauntlet that was later debunked by Hela.
Odin's treasures.
Fake. Now, there's a popular fan theory that Odin originally tried to gather the Infinity Stones back when he was conquering the 9 realms. There are 2 ravens perched on Odin's throne. In the comics, they are known as Hugin, which means thought, and Munin, which means memory. They will also make an appearance in the Avengers. Now, here's an awesome detail that I learned from the channel Canadian Lad. He watches the movies in a quarter speed. They're really cool videos. You should check them out. This reflection in Heimdall's eyes is of the shield base that's built around the hammer. Vision's vision doesn't even compare to Heimdall's. Also, a Redditor named KieferXL pointed out that this image of the hammer surrounded by the dirt looks like the Avengers logo. Let me know what you think in the comments. Me, I think it's a coincidence. And of course, Clint Barton makes his first MCU appearance, hinting at his future working relationship with Thor.
You better call it, Coulson. I'm starting to root for this guy.
Now, like a lot of the MCU's first phase, the movie is largely based on a different version of Thor. That's the one from the Ultimate Comics line. In that version, Thor was more of a hippie activist, and everyone doubted that he was really the Thunder God.
You dare threaten me, Thor, with so puny a weapon?
And there's also a scene where Thor is locked up and he's speaking to a vision of his brother Loki. Now, most of the movie takes place in the town of Puente Antiguo, which translates to Antique Bridge, much like Asgard's Antique Bridge, the Bifrost. Now, this could also be a nod to the Einstein-Rosen Bridge, which is talked about later and is also known as
It's a wormhole.
There are several of these wormholes in Ragnarok.
Guys, we're coming up on the devil's anus.
Judging by this billboard, the high school's mascot is the Vikings, a nod to Thor's Norse heritage. Another says Journey into Mystery, which is the name of the comic in which Thor first debuted. Now, you may have forgotten this, but Agent Sitwell appears in this movie, and later he'll be revealed as a Hydra agent. Agent Sitwell also asked this question about the Destroyer.
Is that one of Stark's?
I don't know. Guy never tells me anything.
In the comics, Tony Stark actually did create Destroyer armor, which was modeled after this creature. Thor even loses his arm in the comics and replaces it with the arm of the Destroyer. He also explains the concept of Yggdrasil, the world's tree.
Your world is one of the 9 realms of the cosmos, linked to each other by the branches of Yggdrasil, the world's tree.
This is a map of the 9 realms. The World Tree also appears as a relief carving in Captain America: First Avenger. This is where the Tesseract is concealed, which is appropriate, since the cube can be used to travel between the 9 realms of the tree. Well guys, that's all the Easter eggs that we found. If you do have any, let me know in the comments below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.